Hello, I'm Greg Hunter. Thank you for joining me for the weekly news wrap up for Friday, July 20th, 2012. Syria is on fire. Just this week, top aides of President Assad were killed in a rebel bombing attack. The government answered by shelling neighborhoods around Damascus that are partial to the rebels. Also, the government reportedly is thinking about getting its chemical weapons out. Now, this has a lot of countries worried, first and foremost, Israel. The Israelis are afraid that Hezbollah, an Iranian-backed terror group, could get their hands on these chemical weapons, and Israel is threatening a first strike against Syria's chemical weapons stockpile. And that has the United States very worried because it could touch off World War III. Meanwhile, in the UN, they tried to give new sanctions to Syria, to the Syrian government, to get them to, halt this bloody civil war. Russia vetoed it. Russia, meanwhile, put up a plan where all sides would immediately stop in a ceasefire. No luck on that either. Russia really doesn't want the region to stabilize. They have a big naval base on the Syrian coast. I've been telling you about that, so they don't want that either. And there is no end in sight in this conflict in Syria that's gone on for more than 16 months and claimed the lives of more than 14,000 Syrians. Meanwhile, in Bulgaria, a suicide bomber walked onto an Israeli tour bus and detonated, killing 7 people. 5 Israelis were killed. Many more were seriously injured. Now, supposedly the bomber had a U.S. driver's license, a phony U.S. driver's license. Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said that this is the work of Iranian-backed Hezbollah. He promises a response. He also said the most dangerous country in the world cannot have the most dangerous weapons on earth. He's talking about Iran. A not so subtle hint at attacking its nuclear weapons or nuclear program. It says that they do not want nuclear weapons. This is for the peaceful production of energy. And this is all coming at a time when militaries around the globe are ratcheting up and increasing their presence in the Middle East, around Syria and in the Persian Gulf. This is a very, very dangerous situation. Closer to home, not everyone basically made out on the Libor rate rigging scandal. It was fraudulent, and a lot of the rates were pushed downward. Anybody with a variable interest rate paid less for student loans, less for credit cards, less for adjustable rate mortgages. You think, wow, that was a good thing. But investors paid for it. $800 trillion reportedly is the number that transactions are set off of for Libor, London Interbank Offered Rate. That $800 trillion in transactions are set off Libor. More than 500 trillion derivative contracts are set off Libor, a fraudulently rigged rate, and plenty of investors are going to sue. The latest thinking about suing, big banks, Goldman Sachs, they don't have anything to do with the rigging of Libor, and also Morgan Stanley. They're thinking about suing the banks that rigged the rate. This is big money, folks, and this could destabilize the banking system, according to James G. Rickards, investment banker, Wall Street insider. I'm talking to him on Monday on usawatchdog.com. He'll talk about that, shed some light on the global economic condition, and tell us what the possibility of collapse are. You won't want to miss this interview. He is a pro. Next up, Ben Bernanke testified in front of Congress, and he was talking about the bad economy. What happened to this recovery we've been, told about repeatedly over and over again, jammed down our throats? And now the smart money says, the economy is so bad that at sometime between now and the end of the year, Bernanke will be putting out QE3 or some type of stimulus sometime between now and the end of the year. Money printing is coming. Some people say they'll announce it before the election, but they'll print after the election. They'll definitely have money printing, which is going to send prices of a lot of stuff straight on up, including gold and silver. Next up, there's new numbers about pension plans. And you know what? According to these new numbers, pension plans around the country are $4.6 trillion underfunded. Let that breathe now. $4.6 trillion underfunded. Doesn't it seem like almost every section of America is either broke or been robbed? the drought in the Midwest. I have friends out there who are professional farmers, and one of them told me today that he expects his corn crop to be wiped out by, you know, 70%. He'll only get 30%. This is a guy that farms hundreds of acres. Beans are not doing very well either, and they need rain. This is a very, very big deal in terms of it's going to drive up prices. About the only silver lining to this is that if enough corn is destroyed, and a lot of it's, the corn crops are going to be really hurt this year, it's going to drive up food prices. Maybe we'll actually get 100% gasoline in our gas tanks and no ethanol. We'll have to quit burning our food. Finally, Sheriff Joe Arpaio in Arizona, one of the most renowned sheriffs in the country, before he said President Obama's birth certificate was, probably fraudulent. Now he says it's definitely fraudulent. A lot of the mainstream media won't touch this story. I'm not a big birther, but I was an investigative reporter at ABC and CNN. And listen, if this guy is saying something like the president's birth certificate on a government website is fraudulent, and incidentally, the state of Hawaii says it is not fraudulent. That's where he was born. But if Arpaio says it's fraudulent, his investigators say we definitely say it's fraudulent. I don't understand why the investigative units at ABC, CNN, NBC, CBS, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Boston Globe, Washington Post. Hey, Washington Post, that's where Woodward and Bernstein, broke Watergate. This is an uberly easy story to do as an investigative reporter. It's all online. You don't need to subpoena documents. You don't need to FOIA documents. There's really not a big legal hurdle. It's a government investigation. There's no real legal downfall. Why doesn't the mainstream media, if this is a big fat lie, take Arpaio out to the woodshed and embarrass him and beat him down, literally, by investigating this lie? They say this is a dumb story. It's already been out there. It's not a real story. Really? No, this is a news story. This is a sheriff that says the president's birth certificate is definitely fraudulent. And my question isn't about whether or not it's fraudulent. My question is, why doesn't the mainstream media spend a little time and very little resources and not a lot of money, get some forensic investigators? I'm sure plenty of people will do it pro bono. Why don't they do this story and embarrass this guy and put it to rest once and for all? That's a good question, isn't it? That's the way I see it. I'm Greg Hunter. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com.